Can you hear the cricket in the
Yeah,
background?
everything. I'm just like, I don't listen to yourself. What kind of clients are other people getting? Been done on men, and then women are just treated as like smaller men. There are many ways to do that. You don't have to go for that. But even if it doesn't look as nice as some of the other.
Pastel colored staircase maze in Squid Game. Yeah, I don't know why we started talking about Bakshi. Uh, Hello and welcome to Brutalism and Bananas. I'm your host Neelanjana, and as you can see, today's session is an online session. The reason being, I cannot travel to Manchester just yet to record an episode. And we are joined by Ishika Mukherjee from Manchester. Hi, Ishika.
Hi, thank you for having me.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good too. A pleasure to have you on the podcast.
Thank you.
And I'm really glad we could find time to do it.
Yes, I know. Me too. Very happy to be here.
So Ishika and I are very close. We have been friends since the first day of college. So that's almost 15 years now.
Oh my god, yeah. No, 14. But yeah,
14. Yeah. So I can say that we've had like front row seats in each other's
for
lives.
sure.
And we obviously went to college together. We got our first jobs in Bombay together. And I've like seen her take off to Manchester, to Glasgow actually,
Yeah.
for higher studies. And she currently works as an interdisciplinary designer and people researcher with OpenCast. So, Ishika, can you tell us a bit about what your work entails?
I am a people researcher and a service designer. Service design is sort of an interdisciplinary design field in itself because it's sort of an intersection of a lot of different design disciplines. What do I do if I have to break it down in very simple terms? Is if you look at any service, my job is to understand how people use that service and what is their experience and what are their like behaviors and what motivates them to use or not use said service and what are sort of external factors beyond the service to look at that person and their experience more holistically. So let's say someone's applying for a visa. You can't just look at that in isolation, right? It's not just that they're applying for a visa, it's bigger than that. So what is their story? Like they're coming to maybe see friends, or maybe a family member is ill and they have to come to this country. Then what does that experience look like for them? And what are the current problems with that? So my job is to understand it from that very human perspective. And that, like, I've spoken about one side of thing, which is the end user, right? The person who's applying for the visa, but there's also the person who's looking at the application, the person who needs to approve it, the embassy. So all of the different
Mm.
layers. So my job is to look at this from everybody's perspective, figure out what works and what doesn't work, and then make the system better. So design it in a way that it actually works for everybody. If it's a business, then you
Mhm.
will also make money for the business. So it's the intersection of all of that. And in today's world, it is also tech of like what is feasible from a tech perspective and to make these things sort of come to life. Like if back to the visa example, it is an online application. So from a tech perspective, what can we do or not do to make things easier and smoother for everybody? So,
So basically, this can sort of encompass any category of
yes.
things, right? It's not very specific to anything as such.
Exactly, not at all. So I think that's one of the reasons that I enjoy this field so much because I think I'm someone who gets quite easily bored. And this way, I've been able to sort of have my fingers in multiple industries because I've worked in healthcare quite a lot. I've worked in financial tech. I've worked in, and then I sort of specialized in government and I work mainly within government and I've done so for the last like 4 or 5-ish years.
If you can share, I'm not sure what your confidentiality agreements are, but is there a particular project that you that is close to your heart?
Great question. There was a project that I did during COVID that I cannot speak about, but I wish I could. I can talk about the recent government projects that I was doing because it's in the UK news cycle quite a lot now, so I can talk about it. But basically, for for a little bit context, the UK is a more or less sort of country in the sense that it has a welfare state. I was working with the part of government that looks at payments if you have health issues or disability issues. So general idea of this is that if you are someone who suffers through a long-term health condition or like a disability, but it's just anything that means that your life is not the same as someone who is an able-bodied person.
Right.
Generally, this means that you spend a lot more because, for example, I could walk for 45 minutes to get from point A to point B. Somebody with a
Yep.
like physical mobility disability would not be able to do that. They would have to take a taxi. Therefore, it this specific benefit is so that the playing field is a little bit more equal for the two of us. So they get a little bit more subsidy. But the way the system is designed is that you will have to apply for these benefits. And they're really, really difficult to do. The forms are really difficult to fill. They are mainly paper and you're writing it down. And then it's really hard for the case managers because they have to read these handwritten forms, and governments do want to put a lot of money into AI. So they were looking at, can we take the load off of like people and doctors who are actually looking at each case? Can we make it more AI? Can we use AI? So those are the sort of questions they were answering. So we designed basically a 2029 vision for them of what
Mm-hmm.
this function of the government would look like by
Okay.
2029, and slowly how do we get from where we are right now to there.
Okay. Sounds exciting.
It was very exciting. It's also very frustrating because this is a political subject. Like, this is
Yeah.
obviously taxpayer money that is going into it, so you also have to be really careful and design these things so that people can't fraud the system and stuff like that.
Accessible but controlled, sort of a
Accessible
thing.
but controlled, yeah, but inclusive, but also has checks and balances in place.
Interesting. So, can you tell us what kind of a master's you had to do to sort of get into something like this?
I did my master's in design innovation, which sounds very vague. It was very vague, I will say. So, design innovation is the broad course, and then you can sort of pick a module with it. At the time, I had picked environmental design because that was the closest to architecture. That was still more designing a space. But during the masters, I did veer more into service design, which is what I practice now. But it included, so you could do service design, which is more like designing of services and non-tangible things.
Okay.
Environmental design was more around the spatial aspect of it, and then there was also citizenship design, which was around the experience of people in society. They're all obviously interlinked because none of these can exist without the other. And design innovation was just that thing of interdisciplinary design and bringing different voices together. So that's what we learned how to do, how to ask the right questions, how to use creative methods to get to the bottom of the story. Because a lot of times you will find that people are fixing like surface level problems. So what we were taught to do was to go deeper and deeper and deeper till you find the actual problem that needs fixing. Glasgow School of Art loves to talk about wicked problems, which is this concept of the fact that any real problem or most of the bigger real problems are not very simple. They are sort of problems from both sides of it, like if you take like poverty for example, or like anything like that, right? It's not as simple as, oh, someone doesn't have money, just give them money, that's the end of it. That's not the end of it. Like, that's not how simple it is. There are so many different parties involved, so many different just actors and problems and opportunities, this whole thing. So it was trying to understand things on a more systems level, and then solving for things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And there are no hard answers to it.
No, there aren't.
But
Yeah, so that's another thing that we learned, that there are no hard answers, there are no right answers.
I feel like this is still a very niche career path at the moment, or am I like mistaken about it?
Working the way we work in government is still very niche in most parts of the world. I think UK does it really well. The EU does have service designers within the union. I'm unsure if all other European governments do. I know that some people do work externally with European governments, and Australia does as well. And but other than that, I don't think any other countries are doing sort of.
Is it easy to get jobs after doing this course?
So the problem with the course is that it doesn't prepare you for a job. It kind of prepares you for this type of design. And then the general directive is that create your own jobs. So I wouldn't say, because it's not as cut and dry as you studied engineering, now you shall become an engineer. It is harder to do. Yeah.
Yeah. And do you imagine anybody doing that course and coming back to our country? Like, is there a scope to do that?
Depends on what you want to do. So UX, which is user experience design, is becoming a growing field in India. In terms of the government, I don't think I would have been able to do it in India. But private sector, there is definitely scope, but I don't know how much for service design or user research. I think user experience design or interaction design, which is more design of screens specifically, I think there's a lot more scope for that. And I do know a lot of service designers who pivot to UX. Audrey, one of our classmates, did do the same course as me and then did go back to India and is now a service designer in India. So it's not that there's no scope, but it's not as there's not as much scope as there is out here, for example.
Right. Can we talk about how there was this sudden shift from architecture to what you went on to do?
Honestly, I think this is what I always wanted to do. I just didn't think it existed. Like, for example, when I did my thesis in architecture, and I gave my final jury, that juror, do you remember the COA guy who had come in? He was so impressed by my research, but so underwhelmed by my design. He was just like, your research is fantastic. Like, I can see how much effort and how much work you put into all of this, because I did that. Like, my thesis was about like prostitution. I went across India to like different places, different shelters, speaking to people and all of that. And yeah, so the guy was like, you clearly put so much effort into your research, and somehow it doesn't translate into design. Obviously, agree to disagree on that. I will stand by my design. But at the time, I was just like, right, okay, well, if I could just do this, if I could just do research, I'd happily do it. And then the other thing was that it wasn't as overnight as I stopped architecture and I started service design, because in that 1 year that I stayed in Bombay, so I did 1 year something of doing architecture, and then I did a year of being a writer, and I was writing for the
Right. I forgot about that.
yeah, that was, oh my god, that was my best job in India.
Okay.
It was me interviewing like architects and designers and artists from around the world and writing about their process and stuff like that. And it was that whole thing of like, I love doing research and I love understanding human behavior. So then when I found design innovation, it felt like the right fit.
I generally ask people if they have a design philosophy. I don't know if it's applicable to what you're doing.
I mean, I don't think I have a design philosophy. I think I have a life philosophy which translates to design, which is that I want to, it's still very naive. It is that I want to leave the world better than I found it. Even when I was doing architecture, like even my thesis was about that. Do you remember, like talking about our thesis? I don't know if you remember this, but this was such a like defining. I still think of it as a defining moment of my life and career. Of we did our thesis, and when all of the juries were done, there was a little speech that the jurors gave us, like the whole batch together. But he was like, the number of juries that I have taken today and the number of designs that I've seen today that are all about save the world, save the world. We're doing architecture. Architecture is not about saving the world. It is about making buildings. None of you are going to ever go out there and be able to save worlds. And I was so shocked that he said that. He shat over my whatever life slash design principles.
I don't remember this particular
Yeah,
speech, but I do remember during thesis,
yeah.
there was this guy who, I think this was a pre-final jury
Hmm.
or one of those, and he was really frustrated because this was the towards the end of the day. And then he goes like, architecture is not for the poor, it's for the rich. You better accept it. And I was like so pissed off. Like, how can you say that? I'm telling him only this. Like
Yeah,
saving
of
the world
course.
kind of a thing. Yeah. And today I sit and design
Yeah,
and I'm like, yeah, these guys can afford it. These guys cannot afford it.
yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. Whether or not that juror or any other juror agrees, I think I'm gonna die on the hill that I do want to try and save the world, and that is my design philosophy. Also, I think the year we did our architecture, or the year after that, the guy who won the Pritzker was
Are you talking about the guy who designed low cost housing?
yes,
Are you talking about Alejandro Aravina?
Alejandro Aravina. Yes, I kept thinking
Hmm.
Alvarez, the tennis player. It's like, no, it's not. Um, but yeah, he won the Pritzker, and specifically for that housing project that was mentioned when
Yeah.
he won it. And I was just like, it is to save the world. You can save the world with architecture. So agree to disagree, dude.
You studied here and you studied in the
Yeah,
UK. What would your advice be to youngsters?
I think it's a great experience. I know that a lot of people argue that, oh, you can learn anything on YouTube today, so why spend so much money and do a master's degree? I think that if you can do it, I'm not saying you can't learn. You can actually, if learning and that is it, if that's your goal, you want to learn something about a certain subject, there are many ways to do that. You don't have to do a master's degree for that. But master's degree gives you things um, like the real world understanding, meeting people from the industry, actually working in the industry, contacts, networks, that kind of thing. And of course, like in the UK, it also gives you an endless amount of resources, like from mental health resources to libraries to just everything is in abundance, and you can just use all of that.
Mhm.
So yeah, so I would say if you can do it, do it.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Yeah, but it is a hard job market. I would also say that if you're doing it, because in India there's also the thing of you would a lot of times do a master's degree so you can move abroad.
Yeah, yeah.
UK is not the place for that. The job market is insanely difficult in the UK as compared to other countries. It's also harder to get things like settlement and citizenship and blah 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 in the UK as compared to other countries like Canada or Australia.
Moving on
Moving on.
to Squid Game.
Mm-hmm.
Because you told me that's what you watched very recently.
Did
And
you watch it?
no, but I looked up a few questions for this segment of our episode.
Right. Okay. Go on.
The pastel colored staircase maze in Squid Game. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Was inspired by which real world artist's work known for impossible spaces?
Oh my god, this is a quiz. I'm really bad at this. I have no idea, but it would remind me of the Mexican architect who plays a lot with color blocking. It reminded me of his work, but not exactly.
Louis Barragan.
Louis Barragan.
But apparently, this artist called MC Escher is the
Oh, yeah,
inspiration
yeah,
behind
yeah.
it
Okay.
because
Right.
they used a concept of disorienting architecture
Okay.
for that entire
Yeah.
um,
Hmm.
was it a game? Yeah, for that game.
Yeah, the staircase is not a part of the game exactly. It's just a part of the theme space that they live in.
Huh.
But yeah,
We have something called a rapid fire round because, well, why
why
not?
not? It has been my life's dream to do a rapid fire, so we'll see how this goes.
I will be giving you a few words,
Okay.
and you have to guess if that word is related to design world or not.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so these are quick questions. I think there are just 5 or 6 of them. Okay. Wireframe,
Yes.
coffee script.
Coffee script.
Yeah,
No.
that's right. It's not, it's a programming language.
Oh. Okay. I had no idea. Okay.
Blue sky thinking,
Yes.
nudging.
I mean, yes, in behavioral design. Yes.
Yeah, that's right. 15-minute city.
No.
Yes, it's a urban design concept where
Interesting.
everything essentially is within a 15-minute walk or a bike ride.
Oh. Okay. Nice.
Yeah. Okay, so those are the 5 words.
That was
So
more
we're
than
done
five.
with the rap. I think it was 5.
I think I did very well. I only got like one wrong.
You are a co-founder of YourCocoon.
Yes.
So do you want to tell us about it?
Yeah. Me and my co-founder both worked in health tech. But what we both made a case for was that women's health is still an umbrella term. So if you look at it historically, like health has been an umbrella term, and basically all research has been done on men, and then women are just treated as like smaller men. And now we are taking women into account a lot more, but we are still not looking at how different women would react differently, because genetics does play a big role when it comes to health. So we knew we wanted to do something in sort of the inclusive women's healthcare space. And then, so this was in 2022, a report came out that said that women of color in the UK are 4 times more likely to die in childbirth, 4 times more likely to have miscarriages, 4 times more likely to have stillborn babies and things like that. And we were like, that is wild in 2022. And so we started looking at how we can create more sort of maternal health equity. So then what do we do to still help women who are going through this, giving them the support, the knowledge that comes from our communities, and then also the fact that here they would like, because the doctors have studied mainly on white women, so the symptoms that they know is for white women and not how they come up in like women of color. So we're trying to make that space more equitable and create inclusive care, and we're designing a digital platform for that.
It sounds like it's something that is the need of the hour, and I hope you sort of get to see it through with
Hope so too.
funding, stuff like that.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is the difficulty, but yes, we're trying.
Yeah. As you know, the bananas part of it is where the guest shares a crazy banana story. It could have been an experience you've had while you were working as an architect or during architecture school, or it could be during your time in the UK as well. So, is there a story like that that you could share?
Interesting question. It's very difficult for me to find a like a
Example.
client story that was that was bananas, because I think all client stories are bananas. Like most of the times, the things that clients say, and that was architecture, and that is today, like everything. I'm just like, are you listening to yourself? What? Like in Bombay, there was a time when we were designing a lift lobby, and we had this specific marble that they wanted. So bear in mind, we don't like marble floors, marble skirting. They're like, no, the marble has to go to the top. They're like, right, so you mean marble walls? They're like, yeah, okay, cool, marble walls. And he's like, no, no, the whole way. And we're like, right, marble on the ceiling. And that's what they wanted. We didn't do marble on the ceiling. Just to confirm, but that's what they wanted.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot though. People are doing it. And the crazy part is it's just being stuck to the ceiling.
Now, how is this not a health and safety hazard? Like someone could die,
Exactly.
crushed to
It's just
death
being
by
stuck.
a roof.
Yeah. It's more like crushed by your choices.
Yeah,
Because
that's more poetic.
it's there. Yeah. Okay. So thank you so much for making time and coming on to this episode
Thank you.
and showing us that we can dream and be naive about the world and try and make a difference.
I think we should be a little bit more naive. I think we get too cynical. You and me
Yeah.
definitely are too cynical. Other people, I don't know.